that was suddenly like, oh my God. And it was just at the beginning of the festival, because I was just like, oh no. And then Chungi and Amrita, so my friends were like, okay, go Gita, it's gonna be okay. And I'm like, it's not okay now? It will be okay. And then I covered it with a sari. The worst thing, I was like, which child did this? There has to be something, there's text on it and everything. I don't know if you saw it.
Back to Godhead.
Misspelled,
She left some things on the room. What should I do with
What sort of thing?
I don't know, I think it's a cushion and some...
You have a picture, you can send a picture and ask her what you should do with it.
Okay, but I don't have her number.
I can send you. Just remind me if I forget.
She's not speaking English. Oh, okay, maybe you can send.
She speaks
Or you put it on Google Translate.
Yeah.
Some English she spoke to you?
Yeah, she's speaking some English.
Okay, so when where will be this backdrop and the
Backdrop is already in the yoga room, and the paints are, if nobody moved it, under the table there.
Ah, so we can do anytime.
Anytime you like. In fact, it's nice when you make your own time. The reason I didn't have it, because, you know, if there's all of us down there, it's not normally a creative space. It's like, oh, sorry, am I in your way? What's happening? It's not one of those things. I think there's other things one can do together, but like, this is actually, you know, you go in. Apart from if you need some help with what you're doing. Like, nor you still search out your flower, and if you need help with how you begin, then I can give you. Srimandri also asked me if she used to painting, and she was somehow unhappy. No, but you just have to go here and do this, and then she then did it herself, and she was very happy then afterwards. But at the beginning it was just like, like, so, you know, just the nice thing about pain is if you're not happy, you can rework it. Luckily.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's like this. If you don't like it, just paint over in white, finish, begin again. It's not such a... The main thing you should try to do is use the paint a bit thin, you know, and you need quite a lot of paint. Okay, we should begin because you have to go and we have to chant and this, yeah. Take it easy, Petra. You look at least like you're taking some rest. No, not really. No, you want to take rest?
Yeah.
And medicine, or why don't you all ask or take some Rita?
We have still something.
But
I have a lot of things.
she gave something to No last time, and No got better quite quickly after that. No? Some weeks ago.
Not me. We have a lot of things in the box, and they have a lot of vitamins if you need.
Yeah, I have.
Brian never comes to Japa Workshop. Hello, Krishna. Oh, Happy New Year, ladies. That was our first meeting this year. Oh. I hope you feel better soon, Petra. I really recommend these chakra frequencies, by the way. Music. Do you ever put it on? Just try, like, put cold frequency on. It's like no, it's just like a sort of or hum. Where did Narayan go? Okay. Well, listen, you come for Japa Workshop? Good. Can you? Is anyone in Golokadam from here? It really looks. The Radha Madha Mohan looks so different now. But this is Radha Madha Mohan.
And Golokadam?
They're in Golokadam, these deities, but they look so different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see deities change. If you also see pictures of Lord Nrsimhadev, you will see how the deity moved. In Soho Street, Radha Landanishvara, if you see pictures from when Prabhupada installed them, you literally see the cheeks are like much more... And now they say they're fed, you know, they have lots of offerings, and the cheeks are really, I mean, they're really quite chunky. It's not just a little bit. So you'll see that the deity somehow... And I felt Lord Nrsimhadev looked more youngish. Now he looks a bit more older, huh? Sort of more regal. Yeah, when he came, he used to have these... I hope he has again. He used to have white eyes and this pupil. You know, not the silver. And the idea is that they would make from this stone mother of pearl. Again, these stones, but it takes some time. You come for Japa Workshop, Subal, Gopal? Oh. So some of you were on Sankirtan or away. I think this is our first Japa workshop of this year. I think it's the 21st Japa workshop. 21. We've been on a roll with the workshops. And we're on the topic of Sharanagati. Sharanagati. Do you know what that means, Emmanuel? Yes, surrender. Surrender. So chanting with this mood of surrender. We're live already. I'm sorry if there's an online audience. Thank you for joining us. So because some of you, I think Subal Gopal, you were here for quite a lot of the Japa workshops. Well, feels like this. But were you here for Vipralamba, chanting with the mood of longing? I think this was Sankirtan marathon time. This was a hard topic because to chant in the mood of longing is quite intense in one sense. Huh? But chanting with the mood of surrender, this is often something that we can try to relate in our own lives. What does the word surrender mean to you? If I say to you surrender, what does it mean? Subal Gopal Prabhu, please, can you surrender? What does this mean? To what? Huh? Yeah, the question is to what?
Giving whole body, mind, and words to Krishna in that case.
To Krishna, yeah.
Yes. The intentions also, inner life.
It's very nice. Sure, it's very good. It's so to give everything that we have over to the Lord. Often in a temple, if you're struggling, someone like, come on, Prabhu, just surrender, and it normally means like just do something that you don't want to do, right? Or it's like this, huh? Get out, go, just finish it. But this is much nicer to actually understand the deeper orientation of what it is. By Satchidananda Swami, he describes it using saying that there are 6 limbs of Sharanagati. And the main one which we discussed today is seeing Krishna as our only maintainer. So the only one who can really take care of us, Krishna. The other 5, which we covered a little bit on the other time, was humility. We spoke quite a lot about humility last time. Accepting what is favorable, rejecting what's unfavorable, seeing the Lord as one's protector, and self-surrender. This is from Bhakti Sandarbha, okay? So they're the different limbs of surrender. But this idea, like one moment we say, okay, we live in a temple, we've surrendered. Oh, we live here. Krishna is our maintainer. But the point that we go is that sometimes this, as Subal mentioned, the internal side also has to catch up. The internal side, which is not just, okay, I've brought my body here and I'm bringing my service attitude here. It's more about what's going on here. So Satchidananda Swami here says, we must develop a strong conviction that Krishna alone can take care of us and nobody else. Parents, friends, and other devotees offer us support and give us some relief, but the Lord, who is behind them all, can offer us shelter that includes all types of support. Srila Prabhupada instructed the same on chanting. We should cry out to Krishna like a dependent child calls for its mother. This is surrender, to put ourselves into Krishna's hand and trust him to maintain and protect us. It mentions here, I think I'm the only mama here, but I tell you it's true. Only a very indifferent and cruel mother would not take care of her child. But the point is, when a child cries out, Mom, help me, in this moment we're saying, Krishna, help me, I can't. At this moment, Krishna reciprocates and takes care of us. That's the point. Then there is it's almost like the Lord. Not that he doesn't have a choice, but there is no other way that you would go. It's when a baby calls out, if you're just a normal mama, not even a caring mama, your instinct and everything that is given to you is there to support and give whatever the child needs in that moment. So in the same way, it talks about this in relationship to Krishna, that he says, how can the Lord, whose mercy is described like that of 1,000 mothers, ever ignore a person who has made himself fully dependent on him? Although we have wronged Krishna for so long in so many ways, out of his extraordinary kindness, he is moved to act whenever we turn to him. He responds to a simple and sincere statement like, I am yours, by preparing a royal road back to Godhead. Krishna is kind by nature. We are not following some other religious path where we are made to fear God. Krishna is kind. He loves us even when we don't see anything to love about ourselves, okay? He loves us in these moments where we also have even given up on him. He is still there for us. So in this moment, he's not looking just, you do this, I do that. He's just looking for a little bit like, help. And then he gives that favor back. I have to say, I put it to test a few times in my 12, 13 years. I think it's 13 years I've been here now. Imagine 13 years. It's quite a long time. I like to stay in temple. And sometimes there's moments where one thinks, I can't do it, but somehow let me figure it out by myself. I don't want to bother the Lord. Can't do it, can't manage. Or maybe I'll manage, it's fine, it's just me, whatever. You go ahead. And often it can be that it builds up. Sometimes it can go, but often it builds up and I go, okay, I just have to figure out by myself. I have to work, it's not working, what's the point? Okay. Anyway, with the chanting, chant my 16 rounds, but nobody's anyway concentrating. It's like odd thoughts that sort of go. They're not even heavy, but sometimes it's just this moment of turning off and thinking, no. In those moments where we feel that we've lost hope, we need to normally press the pause button, right? The pause and say, what's happening here? And then to look with eyes of love upon our situation, not like, you're lazy, you can't do it, or just, whatever. It's like normally to say, okay, what is it? Have I been getting enough rest? Am I well? Have I been nourishing myself with my association? Have I had some good company? How is my chanting going? Like, okay, this could be, just see the different things of what is happening in your lives. And then there is the deeper question, how is my relationship with Krishna? Do I feel his presence in my life? Or do I feel him sometimes? And when is those sometimes? Maybe Noor will say, I feel when I'm singing kirtan. Not on every note, but when I get there, maybe you'll be like, yes, now I'm here, now I'm a little bit close to Krishna. Heidi might say, when I distributed my 12th book, in that moment I was like, okay, I just felt there was a connection. Some part is there for us. However, if we don't feel that connection, it doesn't mean that Krishna's not with us. He's always with us. It's just about understanding how he manifests in our lives. That's the point here of surrender. We give it over. A lot of us don't give it over because we're like, he's there. I saw him in the morning time, or went to deity greeting. This guy did, and then I did what. How does one live a life in surrender to really be like, okay, now all of my actions and what I do, I give over to you, dear Krishna. Even the bad thoughts, let me give them over to you. In this moment, I'm telling you, as I give it over to you, that actually you're in charge. It's like a subtle and deep realization. Most of the times we live our lives trying to control and making our own plans to somehow work it. As a devotee and also as non-devotees, it's like usual. You see, it's not working. But the point is to see, well, what is Krishna's design plan for him, normally in that moment of surrender, it comes true. I've seen it here. It's like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and it'll be good. And either I don't manage this, 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 or I did it, and I'm like, oh, it's still not good. What's going on? And often it's because the inner orientation hasn't been worked on, you know? So like you can have everything going on in your life, but if internally there is still that lack of connection with the Lord, then it will transpire in other parts of your life, you know? That's the point, right? So are there any questions on this? No. Okay. So then we have the next question, which could be, how do we go in this process? It says here, take shelter like a child. See Krishna as your maintainer upon whom you are absolutely dependent. If he hadn't given it, you would not have the ground to walk on. If you can't yet surrender in this childlike way, then remember those who have, such as great souls like Srila Haridas Thakur. Connect to the saints who have left behind their footsteps for you to follow. By studying their experiences and particularly how they dealt with obstacles, fresh emotions will come to your heart and spiritualize your life. It's a combination here that we follow in Bhakti Yoga. We have many beautiful prayers which we covered quite a lot from Bhaktivinoda Thakur on this idea of surrender. And in that, naturally does not mean that we also don't have a personal reaction to it. For years, my personal reaction was I will never feel these emotions or sentiments or whatever. But if you read Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he literally is saying, okay, I'm basically nothing, help me. And I was like, okay, I can relate to that. You know, so there's many things we can easily find to relate to. As we covered the point, I'll just mention again, often we have the wrong understanding of humility. So humility is not thinking, I'm so crap, I'm so useless, I can't do it, there's no point. That's not humility. That's generally called low self-esteem. Humility generally is thinking, it says here, not thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less, you know, so that was the point there. So the point is just to think, okay, there's so much that I can or cannot do, but anyway, dear Lord, please accept that, and please accept me as I am. And I could speak until I'm blue in your face to tell you that Krishna accepts you exactly as you are, no matter what state you're in. But it may be that naturally we want to improve that state of being. And then the Lord also gives us ways forward with this. So this is the moment. What's very nice about this process of surrender is, as a child, when you are like, help me, I can't, there is this element when you give over, where suddenly you don't have to be so concerned about everything that will happen. Because you're letting him be there to support you. Yeah, it's not like, okay, I can manage. It's not just men, but ladies also now in modern world. We all have to manage everything ourselves. Or like where the Lakshmi is coming in, what we're going to do. You know, there's so many things, right? But in this moment, you say, okay, no, Krishna, like, thank you for taking care. I surrender. You know, it then gives some sort of lightening when you make it deep. And so I'm saying that surrender isn't naturally a process where you're like, like, do I want to? Okay, I guess so. It's more a case of, okay, I am yours. Then please help me in this situation. So enough with the talk. We will do our first exercise today. I did have my phone ready for some background flute music. Because often it makes us think of Krishna and blocks out some sounds. But is there anyone who doesn't like this sound? I have sometimes two in a row. I have like, there's one area like who love it. And I was like, whoa, no, I just want it to be plain. So, but you seem all a bit more poetic types. The poetic type seem to like it a bit more. Oh, it's okay. So, please, if any questions come up, then we speak them later. Just think for a moment before we go into the breathing exercise and moving. Just, is there an aspect of your life which either you're struggling with or is maybe a bit problematic, which you would think as a maybe you could try to surrender it to Krishna? Some of you may think, oh, my whole life, I don't know. Also, some of you may just be some part, wish I could, I don't know, better relationships or just be a little more, just think of what it could be, something that might be present in your life. And we see if in this way one can give it over to the Lord. Huh? This is just a moment because it's a practical Japa workshop. Sometimes Ramananda says to me, stop trying to control. I'm like, I'm not controlling, it's service. He's like, no, but stop trying to control the service. What do you mean? It's like a very subtle motion. It's a very subtle element of like just trying to just see how Krishna brings it into light and fruition. There's this statement that we should work or serve as if everything depends on us, but at the same time know that it's all dependent on the Lord. That makes sense? So we give our full, we give our absolute of what we can do, but not because we're controlling, but actually because that's our endeavor. But actually we know it all falls on the Lord himself, right? Yes. So, now please find a position. The best would be maybe if you can see Lord Nrsingadev, as he gives us always some guidance in that direction. To see maybe if one of the people can maybe dim the lights slightly, if it's okay. If anybody has a... Okay, no, thank you. Just helps. Somehow the...
Like this?
Super. This is super. But like this microphone is somehow overtaking me. So please, as usual, find a nice position to sit. If it's uncomfortable for you, please find a chair. Just get comfortable so you're not thinking so much of the position of the body. And then where you can, sit tall, as if pulled upwards like a puppet. But make sure that your lower back is relaxed. Pull your shoulders backwards, relax. Or just take a few moments for some deep breathing, pranayama. Sort of take some deep breaths in. And then slowly release. Again, inhale. Then exhale. And in your own timing, just take some deep breaths and exhale. If some thoughts come up, please just be aware of them and park them on the side. There's time at another space to think of them. Try to keep your thoughts on the Lord. And I don't have flute music, I'm afraid, because the internet has gone, but I have some transcendental sound. So when you're feeling relaxed and calm, close your eyes and I will read this prayer, a verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam, which is recommended by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Satyananda Swami writes, sincere chanters can read it before chanting to enter its profound meaning and gain proper inner orientation. As baby birds that have not yet developed their wings always look for their mother to return and feed them, as small calves tied with ropes await anxiously the time when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers. Or as a morose wife whose husband is away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects. O lotus-eyed Lord, I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. So try in your mood to see yourselves as young children reaching out to dear Krishna in surrender, in the hope that he will reciprocate with the chanting and with all that you desire. Please, now we take our beads and chant in one rhythm together, and then at some moment we will go in our individual timings, okay? I ask everyone we chant a little bit louder, not too loud, but a little bit loud, so that that sound vibration is also able to help in our association. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please, through your words, give everything over to your Lord, even if it's just for this moment. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please find your own pace and finish the round. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare Hare. Everything is yours. I am merely your menial servant. So it is certain that you will deliver me. I have chosen your lotus feet as my shelter. I no longer belong to myself. Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam Nam, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Nam Nam, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Nam Nam, Hare Hare, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam Nam, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Nam Nam, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Nam Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Nam Hare 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 Krishna 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 Nam Nam Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Nam Nam Hare Hare. So please, when you finished your round, look somehow in my direction so that I know that we are back together in this. Do we have a... Yeah. I'm sorry that the music, the flute, did not come. It was not meant to be today. This was on the music was the beach mantra for the heart chakra. That's what it was being played. So in this opening of the space, as we open up that space within. So we do it slightly different today. Just think for a moment the thing that we always do, like how would you have rated your last round? 0 to the worst round I chanted, to 10, like being the best. And the second part, just think over what was any obstacle or block that came up, especially if it's to do with this theme of surrendering to the Lord, if there's something that came up, or some other reflection. Subal, you have the microphone.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it was a little bit more easy in the beginning, was chanting together loudly, went you. Then my mind went a little bit off, so all in all like 4 or 3 out of 10, not so attentive this time.
So it was easier when we had the group one voice for you
that's-
for chanting, and then it sort of slipped into.
That was most of the time more easy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and was blocking probably bad thoughts, also based on false ego, but some thoughts which, I don't know, I didn't connect yet with Nisingadev, or don't want to connect.
You felt like
was
this. You felt like I don't want to connect with.
Yeah, I couldn't, or I don't want, I don't know exactly, but there was like thoughts and emotions. It was like a little bit, just recently one devotee, in a group, he made a joke in front of me about me, which that devotee thought I didn't get. So I was a little bit hurt by this, and there was some sad thoughts or angry thoughts in connection with that. And this, was a little bit stronger. And I didn't know how to connect it with Nisingadev. I know it's also comes more or less from him. It's also his energy, but...
What do you mean it comes from him?
I mean, not directly coming from him, but it's still part of his energy, so to say, material energy in that sense, in my mind, disturbing thoughts. But somehow I don't know if I was like enjoying it, those thoughts, or I cannot let it go and give it to Nisingadev because I wanted to control maybe the situation or the thoughts or whatever.
It's
So
hard,
this
though. When there is a situation, particularly if it's another devotee that somehow we've been a bit hurt by, and in those quiet, you push it aside to get on, but in those quiet moments, often japa time, japa time is wonderful time, and it comes straight into the mind like a whole, oh God, like a whole. So this is a 2 ways. It's quite usual. On the other side, is there something that we can do? You know, like often in that moment when it's like that, there's some recommendations, right? So because we all have it, you know, if we're honest, right? We have this and we have one can just take a small break. It could be you have a moment and it's like, okay, I've got too many rounds, I can't break. But just 1 second break, take a breath and thought, okay, Krishna, I'm thinking on this, not on you. Help me, help me, help me, help me. And see if it works. Sometimes it can really help, you know, like this. If you're in the forest, it's much easier. Krishna, help me, you know, especially here, nobody's around. But it's like this inner orientation, okay, I don't have time. And that is a small way of surrender. I just give this small tip because I'm very grateful that you share, because most of us experience this. And mostly it is, you know, something that has affected us somehow, you know. And this is the moment, that moment. If it's not working, then one literally, this is why there's just some things to jig the brain out of it. So for some, you know, especially if it just happened, like this is worse, or you've been repressing it, you've not been thinking about it, and suddenly it comes, it's like in your face, right? So you have this thought, and you're like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, all you see is this, you know. And there's also a choice then there you can make. You know, if you can, you take and okay, I tell you I will deal with you. Please park yourself to the side. I will deal with it after. But then you have to hold to that promise, because then the mind rebels if you don't. Right? Literally, will, you know, just give me some space now, you know. The trap that we can fall into is more, okay, I can't deal with it and I can't chant. And then what it could be, you just put your bead bag aside, which is then therefore not recommended, right? And the others, what we do when you're initiated, usually, okay, whatever, no matter what, you know, we're just going to keep on chanting, whatever's going on in our head, we just keep going, you know, like, There's also good to keep going, but just that there is another choice, which is a little bit like, okay, I get it now. This is something actually I need to deal with within or resolve within myself. Let me try to give it to you now. Krishna, something inside goes, no, I don't want to. Krishna, I don't want to give this over to you, but please somehow take it. Yeah, just like I've prayed, and sometimes this also works. So I'm not thinking, no, I'm like stuck with this. How they treat me like this, right? This person, but still, Krishna, I don't really want to let go. But actually, my higher self says, please take it. So please do take it. You know, because that's what it is, right? Yeah. The higher and the lower self. So this moment is interesting. Thank you. That's the point. That's the point. Then there, like when we become conscious of what's going on, it becomes easier to work with it, and also pray that one resolves the situation. Yes, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I thought at first it will be a little bit harder because I'm sick for I think 4 or 3 days now.
Mm-hmm.
But actually this round was quite attentive for me, I think. So 7 out of 10 I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. The only thing I was a little bit distracted by was thinking about making tea again, and I was gonna ask you maybe if it's okay if I'm gonna leave, and because and for example to compare it when I'm chanting in the morning, chanting this or
After
throughout the day,
Mangalati,
16 rounds, every 2 rounds I have to blow my nose. That's terrible. But so now I could focus only on the mantra, and it was working quite good actually. Yeah.
Oh, super! I really feel for you because I have this sinus problem now for 2.5 weeks, and a jaw problem. So when I chant, it really hurts. It's like I feel like Krishna has fun with me because it's like painful. And I felt I put the microphone like I was straining my voice just to chant. It's not clearing, and then the mental, like, oh, what's he trying to say? Don't you want to chant? What's going? And then you just have to push it aside, right, and think, okay, whatever situation we are, we continue, right? And I thought, okay, maybe I just try to be humble and give it over. But it's something, right? So instead of chanting, you spend half the mantra blowing your nose. What to do, right? But somewhere there is. Satsrupadas Goswami has a book which is called Obstacles in Devotional Service. And there's one chapter there which is about health. But actually, bad health is an opportunity actually of surrender. It's unfortunately also humility. Humility in one sense because I can't, basically. It's all on you. If you want me to do it, get it, please make me better. Otherwise, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I do what I can. So...
Also this four things. First health, then...
Microphone, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Prabhupada had also this, what's it called? This leveling, not...
This level, like, what is it? Health
list.
And shelter? Shelter? Sadhana?
Health, service? No, health, service, I think then...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Health, sadhana, service, yeah. Health, sadhana, service. So like this, or you remember it differently.
Sorry?
You remember it differently. Yes,
but
bit. Then it's another thing. You're like, okay, I'm sick, I can't do nothing. But it's a certain level. If you're so sick or whatever, you're not, then you have to.
Of course.
But it's also that balance up, right? For example, when I was sick and this is hurting, then I have to take time to chant slowly. I had this problem years ago, actually, with the jaw. And my Guru Maharaj, I wasn't initiated then. He came in and said, this is what you have to do. And then he showed me there's a technique. I mean, it's not interesting maybe for most of you, but it was just interesting that the Guru goes through such levels. He showed me a technique of how to chant. You put your chin forward so it doesn't put stress on your jaw. But because I got scared because of the teeth. As he was, I got actually scared of my Guru Maharaj. Because I was like, Hare Krishna. And, like really showing. He's like, look. And then I couldn't look because I was a bit shy. He's like, look at me, And he was showing me. Actually, it took me some time to realize that relaxes that part so you can chant. So many techniques that one can sort of see in us. It's like this. For you, for example, it makes sense during cold time that you make yourself some tea before you chant, make it strong, get it in ginger, lemon, whatever it is that works, and, have that as you are chanting.
So I'm allowed to leave after... Yeah? Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, we anyway finish in 5 minutes, but yeah, it's like a whole... Yeah, we finish early today because actually I have rounds to chant, so anyone who wants to stay, I try to put this method of surrender in, but that's the process now. Henrik, how was it for you? Welcome back, by the way.
Hare Krishna. I had a very tired round. So maybe 3 of 10. I was very much not even remembering your advice, while I was just thinking of, oh, maybe when my head is in the camera, do people see when I like slip away? This was what basically went through my mind.
So that was your block in one sense. So you were getting like a little bit self-conscious, so to say, if like, oh, what a chant.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your honesty. That's nice. Thank you for coming, even if it was a struggle. You want to say? No? How's it going? Because you're on a roll now. You're chanting. You have to be there.
So it's not so good. Like in general, also my chanting is not so good these past few weeks, because I have like a lot inside to process, and I'm unable to do it. So it's affecting my chanting, but I feel I'm doing it more of duty to Gurudev, because I promised. So, yeah, but yesterday I think I was chanting in front of Narasimhadev, and it felt better because I was able to chant louder and hear myself chanting properly. So I felt it was better. But for me, it's like, however, chanting is better than not chanting at all. So it's impossible, you know. But yeah, so maybe like 2, 3 over 10.
Okay, but it's nice you keep going. Yeah, I understand that too. It's hard to say because when you're processing, one thing I can say that many of us slip away from is to have a reflection journal, just like a pad. And where you find that constantly your mind is like when there's moments when there's a lot churning, you then just take it and write those thoughts out. Because in that moment you're not also chanting, you just write it out. Because so much comes up in our spiritual lives. People always ask me, I was always sick when there's a festival and this or the other, but I noticed in the last few years, I'm not sure if it's also just physical. I think after a major festival like Nishinga Chaturdasi, also a second major Sankirtan festival, a lot churns inside of us. We often have like highly realized souls or other people within us who also have the power to move things inside. And this is, funnily enough, physically exhausting. Emotionally and mentally, it's like a process of what we go through. And so sometimes I feel that instead of being like, this happened, we should somehow embrace this. Something's actually churning in our lives. I remember when I lived and worked in London, sometimes you just have the same day. One day and the next day somehow the same. And then the same and the same. And it means basically the consciousness doesn't change at all. You're just sort of a hamster in a wheel. But for us as devotees, this process of chanting is bringing it up. It's bringing a lot of stuff up. Just thought that for you maybe, I know you might think I don't have time, but just a pad you just write down, and it would be surprising sometimes what might come up in that conversation. This processing time is very important as devotees. I don't remember so much coming up in terms of philosophical thinking before I lived in the temple. I mean, I was always thoughtful in that direction, but in terms of this, and sometimes what shocks me is, when you see some odd, you're like, I'm not like this. How can I ever have this envious thought? Or I'm not like this. And you're like, oh my goodness, there is some anatta or something that comes up. But it's not actually something that one has to be afraid of. There's a reason we are in our physical bodies and not let on the transcendental. It's okay. It's all right. It's 99% of us are here. So let's just be open about it, right? And then get to the next level. So that's where I say, I get it. It's like you're surviving in terms of chanting. You're surviving, get it done. But I pray that, to the next point. Thank you. Narayani has the microphone and it's ready.
I don't really know, but it was not really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest obstacle, I don't know if it makes sense, but it's my mind. and I think determination.
Was your mind saying something when you were chanting? Were you having like random thoughts about service or sickness, or what was coming up for you, if you can?
Mix. Like also that I need to ask you something, or that someone asks something. And then I was like, oh, I have to not forget, because I already forget like twice to ask. And I was okay, I will try to not forget, but I won't think about this. But then I was thinking again, oh, but I should try to not forget. And then it was like,
Hare Krishna, don't forget what you have to ask. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare.
and yes, and then like about determination, because then I realized, oh, but I'm not serious. I'm not fixed to just focus on the holy name. Even I think, okay, I will try to focus, and then just one Maha Mantra, even half Maha Mantra later, I'm now again like spacing out somewhere else, and not like taking seriously.
Oh, and then you're heavy with yourself, or what? You say that you're not taking it seriously. Do you say that to yourself?
The chanting.
Like,
because I'm thinking in something else and not paying like attention. Yeah.
Gurujan Prabhu he did this exercise with us the whole time we're chanting, or every few moments. He says, wherever your mind is wandering, just bring it back to one mantra. Just try to chant one mantra sincerely. It's like a process of it's like a present moment exercise. So it means you don't berate yourself that it didn't work. It's not going to work. You just one mantra. I'm going to get this one mantra right, and then the next mantra, just one mantra. You focus in. So, just saying as a tip. Somehow it helped me. Just this one mantra. I felt like the pressure was off then. I'm not trying to get perfect rounds. Just this one mantra. It's a little bit of a trick, but it's sort of, I don't know. Keep going in there. I have to say, when one has a cold, or I also have the vata is high, and that means often lots of circulating thoughts. So it is harder. I struggle in that way. I find also in the evening time, if I have to chant and I manage, it does help to chant. I think Norman mentioned this a little bit louder if you in the right space. It just somehow brings the mind back in, a little bit like Hare Krishna. Okay, right, this, So sometimes these are tips if you can in the morning time. How was it for you, Heidi?
Hare Krishna. For me, it was actually really helpful, this chanting with the mood to trying to surrender, because this is something I have to currently deal with anyways, to try to surrender and to give everything to Krishna, to give up the control and anything. So that's why when I was chanting, I had so many topics I was actually meditating on. I want to surrender. So it was more like a conversation with Krishna, or like a meditation, what is actually quite good, but it brought me away from attentively chanting. So I tried to
focus back on.
Yes, I tried to there is a harmony between having this emotional and meditating, this mood, but still being actively and focused chanting. But it was really helpful, I can say. Also, when I compare it to the last days I was chanting, it was really much better with this kind of mood, and I tried to keep this for my next days on chanting.
Oh, super. I asked once a senior devotee, but if you're having spiritual thoughts while you're chanting, isn't it okay? Is it all right? No, because they were like, yes, in one sense. On the other side, if we're meant to hear the Maha Mantra, then we're off the focus, right? And I think this is somehow a reflection, a little bit of the movement. Somehow we are practitioners of a spiritual movement, but we don't spend so much time in meditation outside maybe of the chanting. Sometimes we really need to have those quiet moments to sit and reflect on this part. So the tip that she gave me was that when these thoughts come up, either you park it, or you spend that time, if you have time, okay, just put my bead and let me give that over to the Lord. Let me cherish this moment and be precious with it, because they're beautiful moments, and give that over. When it's something you can do indirectly, I heard Radhanath Swami, sometimes he chants and he imagines every like every bead is like a flower, like he's offering to the Lord. So Hare Krishna. So it's like an offering. So like this is also in the same mood, but it's you have to catch it to see where you're going. So it's like nice, but it definitely shows that one should take that time out right now, just to be like, okay, where? What's good about the chanting is that often it gives that spiritual intake. You know what I mean? So the spiritualness of the Hare Krishna mantra is spiritualizing those emotions, those thoughts. Whereas if you just try to sit there by yourself, it's hot, it comes in with, I don't know, all sorts of rationale from the material world, right? So this is like, it's nice to make that time either before or after what, that came up.
I mean, it felt really nice, this kind of mood.
Yeah.
But it was, still it were thoughts. So that's why my mind then goes one step further and then away and then got distracted just because of this one point. It was
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is the point where also with Subha, that, don't push away thoughts the whole time when they come. You're just for the chanting trying to put them on hold. But if the thoughts are there, then it's almost like a tick to the a reminder to the mind and the heart to say, okay, I need some time on this, whatever it might be.
So you should separate prayers and chanting. Okay.
The prayers can be done just before, or if you stop, or after. But in between, it's like the focus is on the mantra, and it's different if it's like you're saying, please, Krishna, please accept this chanting. That's a different prayer. But it's like, please accept, I don't know, my this or whatever. It's unusual. Like, for example, some of you may have noticed that my children came in during the meditation. And I was just like, and then the funny thing is, this meditation was talking about how a baby bird will reach out for its mother, in that moment. And Charu, for example, he's 9 years old, but somehow he can't get stuck, his zip. So I was in a moment like, okay, let me chant. I was like, oh my God, I just spoke about a child surrendering. What do my children need from me, So then I saw some of you quite absorbed. So I just had to stop the chanting, deal with him, show him some sort of affection, and then send him off on his way, But in that moment, I had to stop, And then I tried to put that sort of meditation back to the Lord, like, please accept this. This is also part of us. Sometimes some mothers have a problem that they neglect their children out of saying spiritual life, but actually that child is so dependent on you as a mother. You only have one mother in that way, at least in this life. So that should also not be neglected. That's what I can say. So it's in between. There's like life comes in the way sometimes, but where you can, and I think you're in a position where you make that time for your prayers to the Lord. This is beautiful to have those, and one should try to nurture this beautiful moments of trying to surrender over to Him.
Thank you.
Alicia, how was it for you? You don't want to speak? It's okay, no problem. We can speak privately. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. We are approaching very much the end. We have one more session on Sharanagati surrender. And then the last chapter is Sankalpa. So this is really a practical aspect, but a very spiritual aspect that can really transform the way we are chanting. It's very individual in that way as well. If there's any questions or thoughts that come up after, please let me know. Otherwise, we finished the session today. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your honesty. I wish that we all can somehow be absorbed in our chanting for the pleasure of the Lord and Srila Prabhupada. Hi, do you think you were not here? But these are all my letters to Krishna. There is an exercise in the book. Maybe you could write a letter. I will show you the exercise so you can see if you want to do that. It's a private thing. Thank you, Rosemary, for coming, but you came at the end, so I...
Yeah, the problem was